Rick ain't normal, I don't give a fuck. I know all producers have their idiosyncrasies, meaning, you know, quirks and weird shit. But he's just strange by strange by strange.
You crazy for this one, Rick? It's your boy. Ain't one. If you having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but a ain't one. Hit me.
I'm probably one of the first hip-hop geeks, you know what I mean? That would admit it. But I think a lot of the producers are like that. You know, look at Rick Rubin. You know what I mean? Consider Rick Rubin a geek, right? And he's one of the founding producers of hip-hop, too.
Wrap this up. Wrap it up.
I was just on some Rick Rubin shit. I was always able to relate to him and the music he was doing in the 80s and the way that he was able to be in the studio with Slayer one day and Run DMC the next.
It is our first record on a major label with the producer Rick Rubin. We were invited to Rick's house in 2007, the summer of 2007, to discuss the possibilities of friendship and working together and to discuss music.
You guys worked with Rick Rubin on this one. He's worked with Slayer, Beastie Boys, a ton of amazing bands. How was it working with him? Did he actually show up?
Once in a while. He was there. Yeah. He kicked it on the couch, stroked his beard, nodded, and then he was out, you know.
Because I heard Kerry King saying, you know, that
yeah, well,
he doesn't show up.
A lot of people have issues with the way he works, you know, which, you know, it's fine, whatever, but, I mean, it's the end result that really matters, and I think the album will speak for itself.
Sometimes they do a thing called a face-off, where let's say we have a verse and a chorus, and I listen to the song and I say, okay, we need one more part. These parts are great, but it doesn't feel like a finished song. So Flea and John will usually go into separate rooms and come up with an option of what could happen next. And that'll take, we sometimes limited to 10 or 15 minutes. And then they come in, they each play their idea, and sometimes the whole song changes.
The best thing about Rick is that he's just like a library of musical ideas and reference points, you know. I mean, you can be writing a song that sounds like Linkin Park, and he'll say, you know, you should go listen to this band and this band and this band to inspire you for this song. And a lot of times he'll pull stuff out that he pretty much knows we haven't heard.
Metallica are gearing up for the highly anticipated release of Death Magnetic next month, and the album will be the first time the band got to work with super producer Rick Rubin. Rubin, who has a hand in producing some of the world's biggest selling albums, won the Grammy Award for Producer of the Year in 2007 for his work that year producing albums for the Dixie Chicks, Justin Timberlake, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, U2, and Green Day. We caught up with James Hetfield to get his thoughts on Rick Rubin being the chosen one.
Rick Rubin producing whenever he's there, and you know we are kind of on our own there, which is a little scary. You know, let's stay focused. You know, we've always had a Bob Rock there to help us stay focused, and we're kind of taking that role over ourselves. Bob is missed, but it was time for some new blood. So Rick is the chosen one.
He's very chill. He's got a very kind of Zen-like kind of vibe. He's really you're familiar with the phrase A&R guy. He's like kind of like more like an old school A&R guy. He's a set of ears. He's not a musician, or he's not like a techie. He doesn't sit and like turn knobs or anything like that. He lays on the couch and says, "That's great and that sucks." That's pretty much how you make a record with Rick Rubin, and I mean that in every positive way I can. He's a set of ears. He tells you exactly what he's thinking, and he has a particular way of doing it, but it's very difficult with Rick to figure the method out.
The music business that they're in there's a lot of stress, and meditation just works wonders with them. I've done a lot of the current rock and rollers, Mason Jennings and Matt Skiba. They're very well known in that world. I don't know anything about their music, but Rick Rubin, who's very well known in that world, sends them all to me.
His interest was yoga, so I guess it was natural that he'd seek me out, because I've written, me and George Harrison probably have written more songs related to meditation and yoga than any of our generation. And when we met, Rick and I met in Hollywood, down in Malibu at this place, I ran into a guy who looked like a deadhead, with a beard and long hair, and I could tell that he loved retro. Immediately I knew he loved me and the Beatles and all things 60s, and he'd studied it like young artists of the early 90s, studying with great detail 60s and early 70s music and wondering how it was done, and of course loving the vinyl. And here was a guy at the top of his career, and he was driving a retro Rolls Royce from 1962 or something. And he was living in a funky house stuffed full of yoga books and old guitars under the bed, and I felt very comfortable.
John can sing a song that you may have heard 1,000 times. You may even know the lyrics to it. But when he sings it, all of a sudden the words take on a new meaning, and it takes on a kind of seriousness that it didn't have before. I've had artists say to me in the past, once he's done one of their songs, that's his now. It's like, I can sing it, but I feel like that's the Johnny Cash song.
Russell got the money. Russell done learned from Rick Rubin.
When we bought the house, it was like a blank canvas, and then since then it's just been like an art project, not unlike making a record.
The main thing about Rick, I think, is that he really appreciates craftsmanship in a lot of different arenas, you know, whether it's woodwork, whether it's making a record. He's a real craftsman, and he appreciates artists.
How I became involved in this particular project, as most people know, I'm currently producing my way through the alphabet, and I had a slot between Stetsasonic and Supertramp. And my best friend in the whole wide world, Owen Wilson, said, "Hey, Rick, don't forget Ray Stevens."
Rick Rubin is weird. I will say it, I don't care. He's idiosyncratic, you know, like an Indian. He's weird. Got his own way of doing things, a weird way. Everything about Rick Rubin is weird. His house is weird. The people that hang around him are weird. The tea he drinks is weird. His beard smells weird.
It's really beautiful up here. This is where I come to get centered. I just love the peace, the tranquility, being one with nature. I'll never forget the first time I came up here with Slayer.
Taking a bike ride with my music producer, Rick Rubin, and he's like, how's that festival going? I was like, well, you know, we got the Black Keys, and he kind of stopped his bike, and he looked at me, and was like, I like the Black Keys.
Beasties had made an independent record called Cookie Puss, and I'd heard it and really liked it. And we both came from the punk rock world, and that's how we started.
We started performing live and wanting to rhyme live, but we didn't have a DJ, so we needed a DJ. So this friend of ours told us about this guy, Rick Rubin, who had like the PA, drum machines, turntables, mixer, like all of it in his dorm room. So we were like, perfect.
When we did songs like Fight for Your Right to Party, in my mind, they were sarcastic songs. I mean, Fight for Your Right to Party, that's a joke title.
I think one of the best things about Rick being a producer is just that he doesn't like try to change a band or plug a band into a preset formula that they have. He just tries to bring the most out of a band.
I picked up from him immediately that there was this extreme lack of separatism in his taste, that he had an extremely wide range of tastes.
The thing that intrigued me, that the men that produced these this kind of music, the rap music and the Chili Peppers and Slayer and all of them, was interested in me personally. That's the thing that got me excited.
I just like all different kinds of good music, and I think if I like it, I'm in touch enough with what I like that I can hopefully help people make better records.
Do you feel like even with all that, he's got his feet on the ground?
I don't think he's based in reality at all.